Hello, fabulous. I hope today is treating you kindly. We're going to talk about a little tool that I utilize in my daily life, which I think might actually help you as well as it's helping me. But before we do that, if you could be so kind as to please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. It would be much appreciated. This is all made for you. So your likes and comments and subscriptions help me determine what information is most useful, most valuable, most helpful, which is ultimately the goal. This is for you by you. So I definitely appreciate it if y'all would just let me know how you're doing and how you feel about the content so that way I can make sure it's tailored specifically to your needs. Now that that's out of the way, let me talk about my little tools here. So what I have is a little prayer box and a little candle that, as you can see, is almost done. So I love this. Look at this. Oh, see if I can make it not be. There we go. Be the energy you want to attract. Yeah. So I love that. I use this particular candle. It's a cheapo. Actually, both of these things came from the Dollar Tree. I've had this candle for a hot minute, and as you can see, it is nearly done. But I use both of these to just kind of focus my energy. And especially when I'm in session, if there's something that I need to transmute specifically, then sometimes I'll throw it into the flames while this candle burns. So let me show you what I got here. Now, I will say that for those who are not of a Judeo-Christian mindset, this particular little box may not be aligned for you. And I'll be honest, my religious leanings, well, I shouldn't even say religious. I would say my spiritual leanings are a bit more flexible than the traditional standard. But I feel like you can substitute the word God for whatever you choose to call the divine. And that's kind of how I work with it. Plus, it's super cute. Look at this thing. It's adorable. I love it so much. But anyway, so you open this guy up. It's like a giant Tic Tac box. And it says, God is within her. She will not fail. And then this is Psalm 46:5. Again, if you are not of a Judeo-Christian, if you're not a subscriber to that particular religious belief, then, substitute your own. You can literally put whatever. But I love it. It's got pretty little flowers and all the things. So here's what I've done. So what it comes with is this cute little mechanical pencil and this cute little like notepad, whatever. And I use this to write down all of my things that are going on in my brain that I need to essentially let go of. So my therapist actually recommended that I start writing down, becoming aware of and writing down all of the things that I might find emotionally triggering so that I can begin to bring awareness to those so that I can take steps towards release. So that's essentially what I've done here. I've written down a bunch of things that have come up for me. Like it's not for me to fix anything. Like if someone presents me with a challenge, even if they're just mentioning it in passing and they're not actually asking for help, my, kind of gut instinct is to go ahead and try to correct or offer solutions or stuff like that. But sometimes what I'm realizing, oftentimes, when people are bringing things to your attention, it's because they just want your support. They just want you to listen. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to be honored. They don't necessarily want you to fix it. So for me, taking that step back and writing it down, it's not for me to fix anything. I can hear news that is distressing, it's especially difficult when it's somebody close to you. But I can hear that news, whatever it is, and know that to hold space for someone means to allow space for them to come up with their own solutions. It doesn't mean that I need to fix it. It doesn't mean that I need to change it. It doesn't mean that I need to do anything about it besides just be there. And, hey, yeah, that really sucks. That's awful. I'm so sorry that this is happening for you. So, not for me to fix anything. And then, I've got a bunch of others, feeling betrayed and feeling like I am calling people out when I shouldn't be, or a tattletale or whatever, feeling like I can't do anything right. Who doesn't deal with that? Feeling like I can't trust anyone. This one's huge for me. Feeling responsible for everything all the time. Again, that kind of goes back to that whole, this isn't my problem to fix. Feeling triggered at work constantly. There are times where I get a lot of things and, oh, it gets to be a lot some days. Having to address the same issue repeatedly, that can be a real thing. And yeah, sometimes there are moments when I get corrected or perceived to be corrected for speaking my truth and expressing frustration or feeling silenced. And so let me just elaborate on that. These that I'm experiencing, like these that I'm writing down, it doesn't necessarily mean that my experience, and that's a huge part of what this is all about, my experience doesn't necessarily reflect the truth of what's happening. Like, just because I feel like I am being told, hey, please don't say your words because they're upsetting and they're not acceptable here, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. It might be a different, like, there's two sides to every story, right? It might be a situation in which maybe, hey, this isn't the appropriate space to express that concern, or maybe there's a different way that you could say that versus shut your mouth, I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Just that's not always the messaging. But writing it down is super valuable because it gives me space from the thing. So if I'm feeling distressed about, well, it's not for me to fix anything, is right here on the top. So if I'm feeling distressed about it, then I will write it down with my little pencil and then I'll put it back in the box. And, you could just leave it at that. You could just put it in here and be like, okay, anything that goes in this box is, not for me to worry about, not for me to address, not for me to take care of. But what I am choosing to do, and I haven't decided exactly when yet, it might be in multiple stages, but my plan is I'm going to get, once this little candle guy is completely gone, which it's almost there, is I'm going to actually burn all of these. Obviously, you're going to want to do this in a well-ventilated area, probably not inside your house. And what would be easiest would be light the candle and tuck these little guys in there and, just stick them in and set it on fire or throw it in my burn barrel or something like that. What I was actually thinking I might do is get some new wax, new wick, get all of my leaves. So I've got like sage that I'm growing and an herb called heal all, and I've got some lavender, I've got some other things, some lemon balm, and just basically dry those herbs and take these little pieces of paper and either rip them up into tiny little pieces or roll them up around the wick and incorporate them into the candle so that way I can just burn all of it, like have this, or I might even do something else, like just have, create my own sage stick and something. I don't know yet. But what that will do symbolically is allow me to release all of this stuff. But the first step is you got to write it down. The first step is you have to be aware of it so that you know how to process it. And you can do whatever you want. You can throw it in the trash or, whatever. And that's fine. But I wanted to bring this to y'all because it's been remarkably helpful for me as an awareness tool so that I can begin to recognize patterns of behavior or patterns of energy, existence, whatever you want to call it, so that I can begin to make changes in the way that I start to view things. Because as I observe and give names to things and pay attention to my body when I'm starting to feel upset about whatever the thing is, giving myself this degree of separation, giving myself this space to be able to cope with whatever's going on and recognize that this is not a personal attack. This is not something that I need to solve. This is just a thing that I've encountered and I need to take a moment to figure it out. I need to take a moment to figure out next steps. So that's what this lets me do, which is amazing. Highly recommend it. You can create your own little box. This was $1.25 because that's how things are at Dollar Tree now. Or $1.50, I can't remember. Anyways, so you can get one of these if you want to. I'm sure they have similar things on Amazon. You could probably just create your own with an Altoids box or something, and or whatever. Just whatever works for you. Just the point is that you are able to bring awareness to whatever's going on in your universe and to go ahead and address it. Once you give it a name, then you're able to work through whatever the thing is. And then you can let it go. So thank you, with glitter on it, for hanging out with me today. Let me know how this helps you, and I hope that you have a sparkly rest of your day.